Matt Galloway versus Rob Ford. Let's get this party started.
Of our size, and we're booming. We are absolutely booming. Tourism's up, and taxes are down. And I've saved $1 billion, as Rob Rossini put out the note yesterday. When they said it couldn't be done, I've done it.
The note that came out didn't say $1 billion. It had a figure that was less than $1 billion.
9.72 plus the $200 million on the car tax is over $1 billion.
So the car tax is interesting because that is a decrease in revenue. It's not a decrease in savings. So why would you count that as a savings?
Because it's more money in the taxpayer's pocket.
But it's not a savings in terms of expenditure. It's not money that's not being spent. It's money that people aren't actually paying.
That's, to me, that is a cut. That is a tax reduction.
Rob doesn't know the answer. Doug. Yes, of course, Mr. Ford. A cut is whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be based in what we like to call math. It can be whatever it is that you think you saved, and then you can present it. It's much like when you were sick at school, but you weren't really sick, so you got a friend to forge a note. Hey, if it looks real. Why not? Alright, we're heading down that $1 billion lie, though. Matt Galloway, do not let up on this man.
When you were running for mayor, and you guaranteed on the show that there would be no cuts if you could save money. And yet laid out in that note were a series of cuts. Cuts to the TTC, $75 million. Cuts to children's services of $13 million. $18 million cut from shelter support. What happened to that guarantee of no cuts?
Okay, let me get back to this briefing note.
But I have the note in front of me as well. Looking at efficiencies, there are also cuts, as I said, $75 million to the TTC, $13 million to children's services, $18 million to shelter support. The list goes on. What happened to the guarantee of no cuts?
These are called efficiencies. They're cutting. I'm not quite sure where you're getting your cuts from, because this is. I put more money in the TTC. We've contracted out the cleaning services. We've saved the TTC money.
This is in the briefing note, though, that came out yesterday.
Well, the briefing note that I've got in front of me that I'm going to finish reading off.
Matt, I brought talking points, and it's really rude that you keep interrupting them. Gee, the guy who was so good without notes when there was no questions being asked sure does get full of notes when he actually has to answer questions, doesn't he? Well, when I'm doing the debate, I just talk to the folks. I'm not good with all this factual things. Let me just check here, Matt. And bullshit. Yep, bullshit. More bullshit. It's more bullshit. Matt Galloway, don't stop believing. Let's keep this going.
That I've got in front of me that I'm going to finish reading off. We've had no labor disruptions, and Local 79 productivity is $50 million.
There has been a labor disruption in that library workers went on strike.
Yeah, I'm sorry, library workers went on strike for 2 days. Yeah, I'm talking, we don't have any garbage strikes.
So, yeah, well, if you want to count labor disruptions as labor disruptions, yeah, we've had one. Then why do you say we've had no labor disruptions? Because it's a library. Who goes to a library? Like, nobody goes to a library. No one's going to notice that. Why? Only you CBC communists would bring up the reading shit. I noticed you had that Canada Reads thing, but I don't know who Margaret Atwood is, so fuck all y'all. This is where we're at. We are living in a Mike Judge film. What is happening? Seriously. Well, okay, sure. If you keep pointing out every time I lie, this is going to get awkward. Matt Galloway, please, as Miley Cyrus says, you can't stop. No, you won't stop.
You talked about the city booming, the fact that unemployment is up. We have unemployment now that's higher than when you came into office. We have something like 23% youth unemployment. Don't you need to take responsibility for those?
That's not accurate. That is absolutely wrong, Matt, what you're saying. Our unemployment rate is down at 8% overall. That's lower than the national average. I don't know where you're getting this youth unemployment rate, how you define youth at 23%. I heard it was 12% 2 days ago. Last night it was 18%. Now this morning it's 23%.
The 18% is an older figure. The 23% is the more accurate figure of what youth unemployment is.
Okay, I'm not quite sure where you're getting these numbers from. So, and how do you define youth?
How do you define numbers? How do you define paper? Oh, Doug! Yes, how do we define numbers? Where is he getting these mystery numbers from? From the Communist Factory? No, turns out where Rob works. Yes, City Hall. Guess what, gang? Thanks for working through this. The February 14 unemployment rate for city residents ages 15 to 24 was 22.5%. You know, the place that you work. I don't know where you're getting those crazy numbers. First it was 18. Yes, that was the previous figure. Now it's 23. Looks like you're making stuff up again, Matt. Gee, if you only had a person at City Hall who could tell you the actual numbers. Oh, right, you do, because you're mayor. Yes, I forgot. Rob, you must have an obviously great reason for thinking that the youth unemployment rate is okay. And what was that?
I can guarantee that the youth unemployment rate, so you're telling 1 out of 4 people, I'm not quite sure. I work with kids on a football team for 22 years. 90% of those kids had part-time jobs.
Yes, Rob Ford has once talked to kids, and there was a 90% chance they had a part-time job. There you go, Toronto. What more could you possibly need? The football people I know, they're doing great. Millennials are fine. School? Well, I don't know. But why do people need school? Why don't you just ask your dad for money? That's what I did. Matthew Galloway, bring up the crack. We know it's coming. Here comes Matt Galloway, bringing the truth.
Don't call me a criminal, Matt, because I'm not a criminal.
You admitted to buying illegal drugs. You've admitted to smoking crack. Those are behaviors, I think, that a lot of people would characterize as criminal, and behaviors that I think some people would characterize as not becoming of the office of mayor. Do you think that those behaviors should be considered alongside the rest of your record?
It's part of it. But you know what? People are starting to become numb. What you're saying has been said for the last year over and over and over and over. People I talk to are blocking it out. If it is, I wouldn't be in the lead right now. And you know and I know I'm in the lead right now.
I'm not sure where you're getting that information from.
Oh,
being in
okay.
the lead,
I'm not.
but...
Yeah, okay, that's fine. But
yeah, isn't it annoying, Rob, when you bring up facts and then people don't know where you get your information from? As they said in Mortal Kombat, finish him.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Did you turn down the opportunity to see the video?
Why don't you talk to Dennis Morris, my legal counsel? I'm not a lawyer. That's what I hired Dennis Morris for. Invite Dennis on the show, and he'll explain the legalities of it all. I'm not a lawyer.
Just to review, Rob Ford, not good at math. Rob Ford, not a criminal despite the criminal behavior. Rob Ford saved billions of dollars based on the money he thinks that would have been spent otherwise. Rob Ford, man of the people and not a lawyer. If you vote Ford this year, I suggest voting for the Ford who's not a lawyer.
Truth at your convenience.